Thank you very much. See a lot of people exercise good judgment. It's been a fascinating, absolutely fascinating day. I'm always struck when I'm talking to a group like this, a group who are involved in doing so much good, that it is quite daunting. And I'm reminded of an experience in a previous life when I was involved with, I'm still involved with the voluntary lay organisation, St Vincent de Paul Society, and I didn't sit down quickly enough and I got something else to do. And that something else to do took me to Croatia, where I was asked to speak to a group just after the war on poverty and its address or redress. And I went, and I landed in Zagreb, and I was met by the organiser, who said, "You're very welcome. Everything's organised and ready." He says, "We do have one problem." He said, "No one in the audience can speak or understand English." He said, "However," he said, "I have arranged," he said, "for an interpreter. Go to the venue, get to the venue, meet the interpreter, says to me, 'How long are you going to speak for?' I said, 'I've been asked to speak for an hour.' I said, 'That's okay.' He said, 'I'll tell you what we'll do.' He said, 'You speak for 15 minutes and I will translate.' So I start and I speak for 15 minutes. He gets up and he says 6 words. Half an hour, 7 words. At 45 minutes, he pushes the boat out and it's 9 words. Finishes with a flourish in 3 words. I look at the organiser and said, "I've just spoken for an hour. This man summarised it in 25 words. He said, "I know." He said, "Let me tell you what he said." He said, after the first quarter of an hour, he said, "This man is saying nothing new." At half an hour, he said, "This man is still saying nothing new." At 45 minutes, he said, "This man is not going to say anything new." And I said, "When did he finish?" I was right. I feel that way after having listened to what we've listened to today. I'm thrilled with today, I have to tell you, from my perspective. And I'm thrilled because of so many things, so many things. I'm thrilled by the leadership of this conference through our patron, Helen, the Lord Lieutenant, who's been a tremendous source of encouragement, advice, guidance, and generosity in leading this. I'm thrilled because of the sponsorship that we've had from the University of Bedfordshire, from Harvey Nash through Nigel, and from the Bedfordshire and Luton Community Foundation. The speakers, I thought, were immense. I will go over that in my mind. I look forward to seeing this on the website. What we got from Bill, from Julian, from Tim at very short notice, and from Bishop Richard at the end. Each one of them in their own way inspiring, thought-provoking. The breakout sessions, which I dropped into and listened into, were immense. And that is a great thanks to you, not only for coming here, but for participating in the way that you did and contributing in the way that you have. I was describing where we are as the biggest liner you ever saw going along, and we were trying to find out how we turn this liner. And today, I think, was the first tilt on the tiller, and that is largely due to yourselves. I would like to say an immense thank you to Dave Redfern, who has emceed the whole of today very effectively. Dave has worked with Noah for over 10 years with me, to great effect, to absolutely great effect. Dave fundraisers for us to very great effect. I would like to thank my staff team, who have been immense, senior management team, Jessica, Stella, and others, and our trustees who come out, every one of them, in support. I'm very, very grateful for that. And for the university staff here at Partridgebury. I'm not going to speak extensively about NOAH. Today has also been the launch of this report, this impact report. I would ask if you can find the time, please read it. It does give you the impact, it gives you the scale. Talk about the 1,200 people who come through our doors every year, the 287 we connected with on the streets of Bedford alone, the 300 people that we've found and helped into accommodation, be it hostel or single supported. It will tell you about our journey through the pathway. Some of the things it won't and mightn't tell you is what we have deliberately done over the last 4 years, in that we have dug into our reserves, and we, I'm saying, a collective decision by our board and myself to support the work that we're doing in the face of recession over the last 4 years. And every one of those last 4 years we have eyes wide open and cut a deficit to support the work that we're doing. In those 4 years we've attempted not only to stand still, but to broaden out and do the utmost that we can for the betterment of the people in our care. That could be opening up now 7 days a week. We're always open 7 days a week. Now it's all 8 to 4 o'clock every day of the week. It could be introducing a soup kitchen, which we do every night of the year. It could be the latest initiative of opening what we grandly call, modesty isn't part of it, by the way, we grandly call the Academy, deliberately to teach English to people who do not have the language, particularly the Eastern European gentlemen and ladies who are coming to us, as part of that enablement and empowerment to help them to get a job and move back into society. To work experience, to the relationships that we've built up with companies, which has enabled us in the space of just over 4 months to get 40 people into employment. Now, that's not 40 ordinary people into employment, it's 40 people with complex issues and needs and demands. It's a privilege. I wouldn't be the only one in Norway to say that. It's a privilege to have the opportunity to play a part in that. It's a real privilege. And I particularly am grateful for that every day of the year. Regardless of what I might say about statistics and numbers, it's about the individual. It's about the individual in need, the individual in real need, homelessness, and all of the other issues we've heard variously described as complex or severe multiple disadvantage. It's people like Martin, and I'm going to introduce you to Martin, because today has been about Martin and colleagues and others who have found themselves and find themselves in the situation that Martin was once in. Martin, will you come and join me?
Thank you. Afternoon, everyone. I must admit I'm a little bit unprepared for this because it was only sprung me this week. But I stand here as a sort of a product. I'm very grateful to know as what it's done to me, for me, in my life. I was just looking at that thing there. I've ticked every single one of those boxes that's on that cycle there. Not that I ever intended to do that. I suppose really my journey through Noah's, you have to realise where I've come from before that. The reason that I ended up in all those places was through alcoholism and drug addiction. I took my first chemical at 11 years old in South London and took my last on my 40th birthday. So you can imagine the destruction that's caused through being an addict, of which 23 years of that was an intravenous drug user of heroin and crack and stuff. That is saying though, I never intended to do that. There was times in my life I was successful. I worked in the music industry from my late teens, and I worked for some big bands as a sound engineer, and I even had my own recording studio in Brighton, 6,500 square foot, and I turned over it was quite a successful business, but addiction robbed that from me. And how I ended up in Luton, you know, I suppose over the years with the agencies, it says here, you know, I've dealt with all of them. I've been in detoxes, hospitalised, in psychiatric units, in criminal justice system, homeless, Salvation Army at Great Peter Street, Victoria, for a long time, in hostels. So it's been a colourful life. And how I ended up getting involved with Noah's was last year. I got to the end of the road. Again, I'd lost all that stuff from Brighton. The business had gone. I'd ended up back in South London at my mum's house. I was 39, she was in her 70s. I was bringing armed police back to her door, and craziness like that was going on in my life. And on the back of a suicide attempt, I connected up with agencies again. And obviously, yeah, I was homeless. I had deep vein thrombosis. I was possibly going to lose my leg. I was in a terrible state. I had to, came into a detox in Luton. I did a 5-week detox and stayed through rehabilitation centre and ended up in a sober living house in Luton, which is where I engaged with Noah's, because I'd come out and my self-esteem was on the floor. You know, I didn't really have a lot of confidence because of the way I'd smashed my life. Everyone that tried to love me or help me, I burnt the bridges because of my addiction and alcoholism. It was more powerful than I ever was. And so I came to Noah's as a volunteer and started volunteering, living in a hostel. And what that afforded me to do was it built my confidence and self-esteem that actually I wasn't the sort of waste of space that I believed that I'd become again. You know, actually there was good that I could do, and these guys helped me to achieve that. And so it was just in the social enterprise that I started volunteering, moving stuff around in the yards, helping with furniture. And then the opportunity came to start driving, and obviously from my history I've driven all over the world actually with some big bands, so but obviously that just fueled my addiction, and you know, that's one thing I've learnt now, and won't keep me or stop me being, you know, staying clean. So I came to Noah's and started volunteering, and the opportunity came up for employment. So I went through the process. I was offered it like everyone else, to go through the interview process, did that and got offered the job, which then enabled me to get back on my own 2 feet, got a flat now on my own, got paid my, you know, back as an individual, you know, responsible for myself. I'm not reliant so much on the agencies, you know, because all through my life I've always ended up back at agencies, and it's kind of confusing when you know, because you go to one agency for this and you have to go somewhere else to get your ill health treated, you know, whatever I suffered with all the time, hepatitis C at one point, but it did interfere, all that stuff interfere on. But yeah, he was past pillar to post, and it seems like under Noah's thing it's about having a unity, because when the guys come in there, the welfare centre, I can relate to the guys that are there, because I've been there, and understand that actually it's sort of one-stop shopping. They can come in there and everything's kind of catered for. Obviously, you get fed every day, which is kind of important to stay alive. But also with helping, you know, with shelters, with clothing, and with education and all the other stuff that they talk about on here. You know, it's kind of, and drug counselling, which is obviously most people, or my experience of homelessness is completely down to that. You know, I never intend to end up homeless. It's because of addiction. So that's kind of what I've seen that was happening within Noah's. This is kind of all under one roof. You can access all these different services, because it's confusing when you're that lost. And in fact, you don't. Sometimes you want to be on this planet that you've got caring people there that can help you, one-stop shop sort of thing, and then you can get directed everywhere. From one place, because if you know, when you're lost, it's difficult to go. You just think, oh, I can't be bothered, sort of thing. So that's what I saw, and now I stand here. You know, it's giving me my self-esteem back, my confidence. You know, building my life back up, slowly back, all my family back in my life because of this as well. You know, there's hope back, and actually a big part of my life and people that know me, a lot of that is because I've been there. Is about helping other people that have been there now for me. And that's what Noah's affords us to do. You can sit with the guys that are there, and there's a lot. But actually, you know, I've been there, and there is hope that people. You don't get stuck there. If you do, there's so much help out there. It's just about accessing it. So I'll probably leave it there. I was a little bit unprepared, but that was my sort of journey. Thanks.
Maybe that's the concluding theme, and there's hope. I'd like to invite Helen again just to close, and in doing so, it's he moving stage left, isn't it? If I can present this. It's a little token of thanks and appreciation.
Well, that's very kind, but absolutely not necessary, because I feel that all the hard work has actually been done by everybody here. I don't know about you, this has just been an amazingly powerful day for me. I think we've had conversations perhaps that we've never had before. I've learned so much more about what's going on in Bedfordshire. And I know it's going to be hard, but what I've picked up from today is that actually everybody recognises the need that we do need to move forward and do things differently. There's a will to do it, and now we have to find a way to do it. So thank you all tremendously for your participation. I want to say thank you again to the sponsors, to Harvey Nash, to the Luton Community and Foundation Trust, and to the university. This wouldn't have happened without your very generous donation, so thank you very much for that. And also to Jim and Noah, and to all the people who talked so eloquently today. I think you've all made a tremendous difference. I'm very proud of what we do here in Bedfordshire. I think there's a lot more to come. So thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.